The Battle of the Year probably is the biggest breakdance event worldwide. Each year in October for the Battle of the Year World Finals, we have always like 8,500 to 9,000 spectators coming to Germany. We have more than 200 active dancers from breakdance crews participating at Battle of the Year. And the Battle of the Year has a very long tradition. It was founded 20 years ago in 1990, and it began as a very small event and every year grew, and today it's probably the biggest. So when I saw breakdancing or b-boying first on TV, which was like 83 probably, I was immediately touched and fascinated by it because it was a perfect mixture for me between acrobatic sports and music and culture. So the first breakdance wave lasted maybe for two years, but then all of a sudden like nobody was interested no more. That the media stopped to report about it and all the dancers disappeared. But like me here in Hanover, my hometown, I was still attracted and fascinated by b-boying, and I never understood why from one day to the other it was dying out. So I was hunting for other survivors because I said like I can't be the only one being still dancing. So after a short while in Hanover, I discovered some other people, some other kids, they also danced. And we collected more and more people. Maybe we were 10 to 15 people in the mid and 80s who were still practicing. And then we were talking a lot, what can we do to bring it back, to build up a forum again, and to show the public that b-boying is still alive and means more to us than just a fashion. So that more or less was the moment where we decided, okay, what can we do? Let's just organize an event. So, and that probably was the motivation how the first Battle of the Year was organized. The first Battle of the Year already was an international event. We didn't expect this because when we started, that was 20 years ago, so there was no internet, there were no cell phones, so we only had maybe 20 to 30 postal addresses, and we knew only few people in Germany and Switzerland who still did breakdance. So all what we do before the first Battle of the Year in 1990, we printed posters and we sent the posters out to all the addresses we had. And then we were really surprised that for the first Battle of the Year already there was a group from England and 2 or 3 groups from Switzerland. So the first Battle of the Year actually was already international, which was a surprise to us and of course motivated us to continue for the next year. The Battle of the Year from 1990 grew slowly. Every year it got bigger and more international. But in the first years, we more or less like had contact to crews from Germany, Switzerland, and England. And then slowly other countries came and joined the Battle of the Year and more or less the hip hop culture. And like after a while, one could really see that at that time the dance style is really different depending on from which cultural background or from which country the dancer's coming from. So back in the days, let's say 20 years ago or even 15 years ago, one could clearly see that it's a French style dancer or it's a very acrobatic dancer from Hungary at that time. The first Hungarian group came from, was named Enemy Squad, and they were always like very acrobatic. So, and that was always different, for example, from the French crews, who were more dancing on the rhythm and had a lot of style, but also were very aggressive in battling. So those were the individual differences. Nowadays, you still can see differences, but it's getting more and more complicated because the kids nowadays download everything on YouTube. They can buy DVDs and then build up their own dancers from what they see on internet and on DVDs. So they're mixing up styles. But still, if you go to big b-boying events or you visit the Battle of the Year on stage, and you see 20 different nations, you still can feel whether a group is coming from Africa, Japan, or Korea. Nowadays, with the internet and emailing, the world is so connected, so it gets much easier to exchange ideas, to exchange video clips, to upload video clips on whatever, MySpace, YouTube. So everything is more close together. And of course, then everything is mixed much more, and it's easier to copy styles. So that's what's happening today. today we are living in a very fast environment. The society is living very fast, especially the kids. Like they do something for, let's say, half a year, and then they see, okay, they have no success, so they switch to something different, which in my opinion is really strongly supported by the internet, by other mediums and medias. So that wasn't the fact like back in the days, because like nowadays it is like, okay, you can't say to somebody you meet, okay, I'm hip hop, because he's wearing the shoes and the Kangol or whatever. Nowadays, you could be even listen to techno electro music, you know. So it's really hard nowadays to really put different youth cultures and hip hop people or b-boys in categories. So you can't recognize them, and that's also the fact. Like you have some b-boys, which is good again. Like they listen to, let's say, electronic music or even rock music, and they like to b-boy to it. Originally, it was breaks, soul music, funk music, and rap music, but nowadays everything is mixed. So everything has positive and negative sides. You have different categories of b-boys. You have dancers who still only do the old school moves, like the top rocking, the footworks. Then you have b-boys, and they are specialized into the power moves, who are more acrobatics. They are spinning on their heads, they are flying around, doing air flares and Thomas flares. And yeah, and you have mixes of everything. Then you have b-boys who more or less listen to punk music, electronic music. They dress up like, let's say, punk people. They don't even look like the b-boys like I met them like 20 years ago, but they still do dancing. If we would only like put it on how it was back in the days and don't allow like development, I mean, it would not be so interesting, and it would be in my opinion, this would be the death of the youth culture, of the development. The biggest battle of the year we ever organized was in the year 2000. We had a bit more than 10,000 spectators in the location, and a bit less than 4,000 outside without tickets, watching the inside battle outside on a big video screen. And that was on the World Expo site in Hanover. And the reason for it was like, at that time, different reasons. I was not sure if I really want to continue the event. After 10 years, I said maybe it's too much stress, so it's good after 10 years to stop. And the Expo, with having a big venue, might be a good last battle of the year. And on the other side, we were part of the World Exposition, which we had in Hanover in the year 2000 for 5 months. And the whole media output, which was organized by the by the Expo, put Battle of the Year, b-boying and hip-hop culture into mainstream medias, and attracted a lot of kids, let's say mainstream kids, who normally don't attend any b-boy or hip-hop events, but they were interested in, because maybe they listen to rap music, or they came from a skateboard background, which is kind of also an urban culture. So this all together filled up the venue, and it was really incredible. In 1999, in Leipzig, Battle of the Year, we only had, I would say, 3,500 or 4,000 spectators. And at that time, I knew already that next year we have a big venue for 10,000 more people. So I was really like sweating, like if we really fill up the venue, because like a big venue being only half full looks like to me dead. So I never expected so many people coming in the year 2000. And it looked developing very, very slow until 4 weeks before the event in 2000. But then all of a sudden the pre-sales went really, really fast. And we decided, I think a week before Battle of the Year in October 2000, we decided to stop the pre-sales, because I knew our normal crowd. I knew that they come with buses from Holland and Paris, France, without any tickets, because usually you come to Battle of the Year and you can buy your tickets on door. So we said we better stop and hold 1,000 tickets till the day of the event, in case of anybody comes without tickets. And then on the day of the event, I think it was the 14th of October in 2000, in the morning, I think at 10 o'clock, the pre-sale offices were open, and within 10 minutes, the last 1,000 tickets were sold. So this was really amazing.